cheers to our first one. First
Cheers.
podcast, making it happen.
Going for beers rather than coffee.
Yeah, we can sober up later. I guess I'll make the introduction. Hello, everybody. My name is Kyle Lewis. You can introduce yourself now.
My name's Andrea Shulz.
The point of our little podcast and what we were trying to do today is give you a glimpse of not only what we do for work, but also give you like an insider knowledge into like our book of business and the people we associate with on a daily basis. So you get to meet like electricians, you get to meet people who do woodworking, people who do glass blowing, or have the whole spectrum of professionals that we want to introduce you to, because, you know, growing up here in Idaho and having this great book of business is awesome to have, and we just want to share it with you. So yeah, that's kind of the point of it. The rest of it will probably just be us talking to people organically. Yeah. And yeah, that's kind of how we were run with it. We were trying to come up with a name. We were thinking two potatoes, but then someone said it might be a little phallic. So we're consulting the dark webs, and we're open to suggestions right now. So we'll eventually have a more formal introduction, but yeah, that's kind of how we'll kick it off. I'll ask at the end of every segment a trivia question to Andrea as well as to you guys. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. Do you have any input on that?
Yeah, I guess we just want to introduce a lot of our mutual friends that are all Boise business owners and let you kind of see into their world and what they do, and give you just an idea of some regular working people around Boise, Idaho. That's about it.
That's what
and then us bantering, of course.
Yeah, because that's what podcasts are. It's just people talking in circles. But I do want to ask you about things that you have going on. You know, you got woodworking. You also have, you know, your landscaping business that you still are keeping alive. Yeah, you were telling me some interesting things, which I thought were cool. You know.
Yeah, we had to stop talking prior to recording so that we didn't talk too much beforehand.
Yeah, can't use all the good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a bit of a workaholic and a serial business starter, I guess. I kind of have a business starting problem, but I don't know, it even runs deep. I think I started my first business in the late 90s.
Nice.
Yeah, I started making hemp necklaces and selling them to a local like clothing and skate shop back in like 1997 in downtown Boise.
Cool.
So it runs deep.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's one thing I do love about you, and I'm always super inspired, is like your entrepreneurial hustle is like tenfold. I like know nobody will be like, didn't work out, start something new.
Yeah.
Like that shit's so gold to me. I love that. That mentality is very rare.
Yeah, I've typically thought up of 3 new businesses every morning before I've had my second cup of coffee, typically.
You're the perfect sounding board. People need to just come to you with their ideas and be like, did you think of this already?
Yeah, I love it.
I like that too. Yeah. I mean, you know, my background for most people, they already know, is bikes. I was in bikes just like her hubby Sky forever and ever. And that was my world. And then moved into the manufacturing piece of it, which was fun, working for Kristen, traveling around, riding bikes, going to cool events. And I, you know, love and hate trade shows. They're like such a hustle at first, but then like you get to meet some like amazing people, like, you know, the folks we'll introduce you guys to.
I'm learning to love and hate them as well.
Yeah, you're in the thick of it. You're in the thick of it with Elixir Wax. Yeah, that's very true. I don't know. Like I said, the hustle is always the hardest part, but the payoff can always be rewarding.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you should probably set a timer so that way we don't talk for too long.
Okay.
Because my phone's over there.
So is mine.
You can step out of frame. I think that's okay.
Right,
I think that's tolerable. You're still mic'd up. Everyone can hear you fumbling around. I think another 10 minutes or so.
Okay, well, I mean, after from my original start with businesses in the 90s, I started my second business in, I think, 2013 when I started my landscaping business,
Yeah.
which is Ecology. It's gone through a couple different name changes, but from Ecology Yard Care to Ecology Landscapes, and now it's all over the place. But I've continued to do that for the past 11 years, all while starting other businesses on the side, just to see if I'm into anything else.
But I mean, that's cool. Like you got something that makes you money. It's your backbone, right?
Yeah, yep, that's always the thing I fall back on for sure. And I'm always just testing the waters with other things, / talking other people into starting businesses with me all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, I've had home inspection companies. I've dabbled in real estate, which you have as well, but
Yeah.
far more successfully than I did. And then my latest business is a wood finish manufacturing company called Elixir Wax, and that's my now main time gig. Yeah.
Which is like exploded for you.
Yeah, it's starting to take off. Now you can probably buy my finishes in, I don't know, 25, 30 different states across the U.S. So, yeah, it's growing.
I remember when you like got your stickers. That was so crazy. And you've been to like 4 or 5 different trade shows now for that.
Yeah, I've been one just recently. I just got back from a trade show down in Phoenix with the Woodcraft down in Chandler, Phoenix, and that was pretty good time. Partially because of the nice weather comparatively to here, but then it was also successful. I met so many awesome people down there, so that was a pretty good time.
Arizona's sweet.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine and I lived in Mesa. We lived off of Southern and Dobson over by the junior college and the hospital. And that was the time of our life. We were the poorest we ever had been. We barely had 2 nickels to rub together. And like we would take turns on who would carry the heaviest grocery bag home on our fixed gear bikes in like 110-degree weather. So like someone had to carry the 2 gallons of milk and all the canned food, and the other guy had to carry the eggs and all the bread and make sure that they didn't crush anything.
Yeah.
So it was like an even trade.
Yeah, that sounds like most of my 20s. I don't think I didn't buy my first car until I was almost 30. I only rode a bike around this town.
When we had
groceries, everything.
when we had Snowmageddon, I was still like a little kid then, and then like we had that crazy ice storm a few years after that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, I was in college then, and like that's when I needed a car, but I still didn't have it. I just rode my bike everywhere, and yeah, that was hell. I remember getting ready to go to class, and I was like, I could do it. I'll leave like 2 hours early. I can do it. And I slid from like the door all the way to the edge of the driveway, and then I just like remember calling my mom, being like, I can't go to school. Do you think that's okay? She was like, yeah, you're fine. I'm surprised you're still going. And my mom she just always supported me. She really didn't care about the education piece. She's like, man, I'm from the streets. Well, you'll figure it out. She really was. Right, and she left home when she was 15 years old and worked her tail off for everything she has.
It seems like she's still working her tail off the few times I've met her in recent years.
That girl's a hustler.
Yeah, total hustler.
She got her house paid off, and she's like, I'm doing this. I was like, go get it, girlfriend.
Yeah. Oh, man. So what have you been up to in past years? Work related. I want to hear about all your real estate shenanigans.
The real estate stuff's been fun. You know, no customer is the same, no transactions the same. I like the little ones. The big ones are fun too, but they always have their scary bits about it. Yeah, last year, I think we did 13 or 14 units, which was fun. Helped a lot of friends. Helped some foreigners move to town.
Nice.
I'd say the bulk of my out of towners came from Texas and California, but primarily Texas.
Yeah, that's my experience with landscape. If they're people coming into town, it's either Texas, California, some Washington folk.
Yeah. This year I got my first Alaskan moving down to Idaho. He's a hoot, man. he was telling me the other day they got 2 feet of snow in like 46 minutes or something. They had this crazy blizzard with like 65-mile-an-hour winds, and just like the snow drifts just like built these massive walls of snow. It took him like 4 hours to like snow blow a driveway that's like 600 feet long or something like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so wild with the influx of people into Boise. Just me being in the landscaping business, I always think it's comical, and maybe I'm putting myself out of work here, but every house that's sold gets like 2 new landscapes. Everybody that's selling a house wants to put in a new landscape or like spruce it up a bit, and then they usually refer you, because they know you as their landscaper, to the people that buy the house, and then those people immediately want a new landscape because they don't like what was put in.
I mean, yeah.
It's a guaranteed 2 landscapes for every job,
I could see that.
or for every house sale.
I could see that. Well, you buy the new constructions, it's all on you. You have to put it in now. Like, the builders don't do it anymore, and that's how they cut out margins. It's crazy. Yeah. They save themselves so much goddamn money, and then they'll incentivize you. They'll be like, "Oh, we'll give you like $45,000 for you to do with what you want." So people are more enticed on, like, their bottom line, so they chase the interest rate down. Then they move into these houses, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, we don't landscape, we don't do sprinklers, we don't do anything, we don't do no blinds." So they move into these houses, and they're just bare.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I try to tell them, like, "Yeah, but the payment." I'm like, "Yeah, but you're gonna have no grass, dirt's gonna be blowing everywhere."
It'll be a dust bowl.
It's the new construction world's funny. I would say I prefer existing. I like existing homes, but they always sometimes propose like a risk and just because things are older.
Yeah,
Being,
for sure.
from the inspections, you would know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a rule I have for myself, is like, if I'm looking for a house to buy in town, I always set parameters of nothing built after like 1978.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know.
I like the older houses because I feel like they have more character.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to deal with the problems that come with that.
90s weren't a bad time around here, except they used that polypropylene pipe for the supply lines, and that stuff is like notorious for these like hairline, like little cracks, and it just like spits water on this like one foundation wall that's like made of wood, and the next thing you know, the whole house falls over. No, I'm just kidding. Bad joke. But that stuff's gnarly. They call it polypipe. When the inspectors find it, they're like, "Oh, it's got polypipe, dude."
Yeah,
and I'm
not
like,
good.
"Oh, how much?" And they're like, "The whole house." And I'm like, "It's been down there long enough, it'll be fine." No. Polypipe's okay. Not okay, I should say. Everything's going to the red and blue PEC stuff.
Yep.
Super bendy, super easy. Copper's the only like true testament to everything, but even then copper has its fails.
Yeah.
Someone doesn't solder those little joints together.
Yeah, I think my house, it was built in 1947, and I think it didn't have copper pipes, but
Galvy probably.
probably galvanized pipes, but then I upgraded everything to PEX.
PEX, yeah.
And that poor plumber that had to go underneath my house because the foundation is like, or the joists are like this far
From the ground.
in the crawl space. I have to turn my head to the side to fit through them, so I have no idea how he did it, but he did.
I've seen houses like that, and then
And
people.
there's thousands of black widows down there.
That's not, yeah. That's like the one thing that gets me is spiders. I can handle all critters except for those little bastards.
Yeah.
It's like they get me, man. I find them in my sleeping bag or something, and I'm like, "Oh!" Can't.
No go.
No go. I have seen people excavate underneath homes like that.
Mm-hmm.
They get like 2 dudes, right? One dude with a freaking just hand shovel and a 5-gallon bucket, and they will chip away and cut these little tunnels underneath
I thought
houses.
about doing that.
Dude, it's crazy. People do it.
The only access that's a reasonable size is inside of my house, so I'd have to like go down into the floor, go over, dig, and take like buckets out. I don't know. There's access points on the outside of the house, but again, I can hardly fit through them, so you can't get a 5-gallon bucket through there.
Okay.
So I've thought about doing it.
So here's one for you. New construction. It was actually built like 7 years ago or so. Not too old, but not too young. They built them so close to each other. All the front eaves on the house have gutters. The side ones don't. So everything that runs off the edge there just bleeds next to each other. So the houses are that close to each other. They're like that. And when they get a major storm, all that water sits in between. This chick had like 2 feet of water in the crawl space, and she had no idea, which, I mean, most people don't, and especially at her age, I don't expect her climbing down there or having, maybe hubby even looking down there. But still, it was like, whoa, that's a lot of water. That's a lot of water. And anyway, their remediation effort to clean that up was to trench like that. They cut these like 2-foot trenches, big L, like 75 feet, 45 that way, and another like 30 some odd this way. Trench that. I watched them do it. They literally, there was a lot more room than yours, but they used like little hand shovels and buckets and took out like 4 yards worth of dirt. It was insane.
Wow.
It was unreal. And then they brought in rock. They brought in plastic. Then they put the rock down, and then they take like a PVC type pipe, run in the middle of that, and then they run more rock on top, and then they put sand as a finisher to compact it, hold everything in place. And then that PVC pipe is connected to a sub pump in the middle,
And then
and
they
it
pump
just
it out.
blows it out the side of the house.
Wild. Yeah.
Well, yeah, craziness. It's just crazy, like, yeah, how close they are these days. The old stuff is where it's at.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. I just favor it.
Yeah, for sure. I like it more because of the character.
But the new stuff's cool, don't get me
But
wrong.
it's fine. Yeah,
It's fancy,
it's fine.
feels good, it's fresh. My dad bought a new house a couple years ago. His house is insane.
Yeah.
Like, it's a goddamn palace. I love it. Like, but I'm just more of a grittier guy, I guess. I like the light switches
Like
to
to
kind of
get your
like dim
hands
and then
dirty.
come on. Yeah.
Oh,
Or in
yeah.
this house, we got the phantom doorbell ring. Have you heard about that?
No.
Oh yeah, that one's great. It'd be like in the middle of the night, like ding dong, all the dogs like, all right, all right, all right. I'm like looking on the cameras, like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, it's great. Yeah, that one's fun. And it's funny because
It all adds to the character.
and then the front doorbell has a different ring, so it's the back doorbell, and it's more terrifying.
Why do you have a back doorbell?
Oh, okay. This house was not fenced. None of the neighbors had fences. This fence you see back here is the first fence in like, I don't even know, 50 some odd years. The house was built.
They needed a barrier from the neighbors by putting in a doorbell on the back door.
It was crazy. The pictures from a long ago. I mean, it's just, yeah, the house was built in 54 and no neighbor had a fence. These guys did eventually. It was like a little like 4-foot fence you could see right over. It was kind of disturbing, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right, I'll ask you your trivia question.
Okay.
Do you
All
know?
right.
Do you know what Idaho's nickname is?
I do,
It's a pretty easy one for
but
us
I
locals.
feel like we're asking the audience as well. There should be like a Jeopardy.
Well, the
song
other
or
question,
timer,
the
but I can
audience's
give you the
question
answer.
is different.
Oh, okay.
It's a spin on it.
Okay. Well, then Idaho's nickname, or at least the most famous one, is the Gem State.
Yes, that you are correct there.
It's known for other things, but I'll stick with the Gem State for now.
Yeah, the gem states where my head was at. The question for the audience is, how did we get this nickname?
Okay. That's a good one.
Yes.
We'll save that until next episode. But then, of course, for all future episodes, or at least most of them, just to give you an idea, we kind of talked about at the beginning, we're going to start reaching out to various business owners
Yep.
and getting a feel for the real beat of Boise, like the people that keep this town running.
Yep.
And all of our friends' friends, as anybody from Boise knows, there's only 1 to 3 degrees of separation from everybody in this town. We all know each other.
Yeah.
So we're going to give you a view into a bunch of other people's lives and the businesses they've started and how they've found successes in this town.
Yep.
So
Yep. It's like our little book of business and their little book of business, and hopefully it helps you in some capacity and also helps them. Like, that's what we're trying to do, is just spread the knowledge, spread the information,
yep.
expose really cool people to other cool people, and
Banter about business around a campfire, which is what we usually do on a weekly basis anyways.
yeah, this is
But now you get to watch.
Now you get to watch. Thank you.
Bye.
Sure. Let's see what happens now.
Is that good enough? Do you think we did? I think that was like